AP changes are a great way to change the meta within online head-to-head without EA having to drop a title update. And on Monday the 24th, EA put out a tweet saying that they would be reverting the increase in AP that they gave to us back in February, going back to 9 AP from 13 on the offensive side of the ball and down to 12 from 16 AP on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I know that this is a very hot button topic, heavy debate on both sides. Let me know what you guys think below in the comments section. Are you guys a fan of this AP update? Do you hate it? How does it impact your team? Because I want to really attack this from all angles. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you what my AP setup is on both sides of the rock. You're going to notice that I do have a limit of 13 and 16. That's because I recorded this video before the actual AP shift went out. I record some of my content ahead of time. So I wanted to just be prepared for this and do this video, so it was ready to go live after being edited. Now, let's start on the offensive side of the ball, where I think it's still very, very important to remind you that people will be equipping pass rushing abilities on the defensive side of the ball. This includes passive Colossus or pre-lit Colossus style X factors that are going to be very, very dominant if you are caught with your pants down, in other words. So for that reason, my recommendation is that every single one of your 5 offensive linemen must have 2 abilities at the bare minimum. And those abilities are pass protector and all day. Now, there are several linemen in the game that get this ability absolutely free, or both of these abilities together absolutely free. So you should target getting as many of these offensive linemen on your field as possible. Now, we did a video specifically on this stack and why it's so important. In fact, we talked about all of the offensive line abilities. So make sure that you guys check that video here on the channel, which brings me to my next point. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the Zan Madden YouTube channel, because I'm dropping content Monday through Friday in the mornings with shorts in the afternoons to help you get better at Madden absolutely free. So if this channel helps you out, make sure you're subscribed and hit that noti bell so you know when all the updates go live. But I would strongly urge you guys to also consider on your offensive line having at least 1 post up. Now, the reason that I say that is, as we mentioned, Colossus is one of those abilities that absolutely decimates double team blocks. And with the decrease in AP on both sides of the ball, I would anticipate you're not going to face the triple Colossus offense all that often. So if you face one, just having 1 guy with post up on your team will be very, very useful for you. Okay. So I like to make sure that my center has all 3 of these abilities: pass protector, all day, and post up. And then as it pertains your guards, again, we're still paying attention to the most important abilities possible: all day, also pass protector. But again, depending on what item and what budget you have, you might find guys that get all 3 of these abilities for 0 or 1 AP. So again, just make sure that you're targeting pass protector all day for free, or pass protector all day and post up for 0 or 1, and you should be fine. Now, as it pertains the rest of your AP on your team, this is going to be very centered on what style of offense you run. So one thing I'm going to tell you is that pretty much everybody should agree on this: your running back is going to be a tank. Now, I run a Bears theme team, so I pay AP for tank on Fridge. Fridge is obviously very, very good for me, coming in at 6'2", 335, really good strength, can't hit stick him. He's always falling forward with this. But there are running backs in the game that get this ability for much cheaper. So make sure that you guys target that type of ability for your running back, which is going to leave me on my particular team with the quarterback getting 4 AP. Now, I personally have my preference for the way that I run my offense. I was running Dontari Poe with the freight train ability, which basically breaks tackles, and I run that Seattle quarterback zone run out of their trips tight end in short yardage situations. With this AP update, I've actually had to roll this back and get rid of this, unless I want to sacrifice an ability that I'm going to talk about right now, which is going to be the pocket deadeye. Now, the pocket deadeye is basically perfect pass accuracy on any throw. Some players out there like to use sideline deadeye or inside deadeye. I use pocket deadeye, so any throw I make from the pocket is perfectly on the button. And this is a ability that I love because when you talk about whip routes and you want to throw that route out to the sideline, catch it in stride, not get a slow down tackle animation from behind, this is going to help with that. This is going to help with those over the top bomb throws or those sideline corner routes where you want to toe tap and get that conservative catch. You're just going to get better placement with this ability. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean you're never going to miss a throw. There are still factors in the game such as under pressure inaccurates, or honestly, you just put a bad free form in on your own. The ability puts the ball exactly where you freeformed it, but it happens to be outside the reach of the receiver. Those types of throws still will occur, but basically this is a perfect pass accuracy ability on any throw from the pocket. And I really like it on a player like this that is more so known for being physical and running the ball effectively. Now, again, if you're really good at hitting your blues, you might choose to not use this ability. I personally am using this ability. Now, the rest of the quarterback abilities, I think it's pretty chalk. You want to make sure that you have some sort of backyard quarterback or master tactician, basically an ability that gives you the hot routes for every position on the field and playmaker ability with your quarterback, because redirecting your receivers in the middle of the field is super, super important. But on top of that, gunslinger, this is going to wind up or make your windups a lot faster. This is huge when you're dealing with pressure, especially with the loop blitzes and the heavy blitz metas that players like to run. You don't want to get caught with your quarterback winding up on a throw when you have a wide open receiver. So this is going to speed up your throwing animation, and it actually adds a little bit of ball velo as well. It doesn't note that it does, but test with and without, you'll notice the ball comes out a little bit faster. Now, on top of that, this is a very knockout centric game. There's going to be a ton of AP on the defensive side of the ball dedicated to knockouts, and we'll get to that momentarily. So I like to run gift wrap. This just basically makes it so that knockout needs to be in a phone booth with your wide receiver as he catches it for that wide receiver to really have a chance at dropping it. Okay. So I would say when it comes to your quarterback, the three primary abilities that you have to run for as cheap as possible are going to be that master tactician backyard quarterback, one of the two, gunslinger, and then gift wrapped. On a lot of quarterbacks in this game, you're going to be able to get that for 1 AP total, which is going to leave you with that extra AP that I was just talking about. I choose to use it on pocket deadeye, but for those of you that are maybe interested in using that 3 AP that I was talking about on pocket deadeye elsewhere, some of the better abilities in the game that I could recommend to you would be the catch elites. These are abilities that will basically allow your receiver to have a little bit of a canceling of the knockout. So for instance, when you talk about Cordero Patterson, he gets this deep elite for 0. What that effectively does is when you throw that corner out on the sideline, let's say that outside DB hits him in the back and they have deep out KO. If he has deep elite, they basically neutralize one another. So they're not really going to get the benefit of that knockout ability. Other catch elites in the game that are really, really good, if you can get them for free or 1 AP, are going to be your mid in and your mid out elite. Now, if you think about the way this game plays, very, very heavy on mid-zone knockouts. We'll kind of talk about that here in a minute, but heavy on the switch sticking, and having to win in the middle of the field is key, especially with players being able to switch stick from their user in the middle to a corner or to a safety up top. So having the catch elites that are associated with the middle of the field or the kind of intermediate second level of the passing windows is going to help negate a lot of those mid-zone KOs. So I would actually, if we're being totally honest, I would prioritize the mid-in and mid-out elites, particularly the mid-in elite over the deep elites. But again, we're just talking about luxury abilities at this point. The defense is losing some AP, so you're not going to be running into every single possible player on the field having every single knockout ability on the field, although there will be plenty of knockouts to go around. So let's go ahead and get into the defensive side of the ball. Now, before we get into my defensive breakdown here, if you would do me a solid, just make sure you go check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. Now, the meta is shifting today with this AP change, but Gridiron Game Plans will keep you on top of the meta year-round with our vault updates. These are weekly curated content for you to keep you on top of trends. Let's say you go on vacation, you take a week off of the game, you want to know what the best players in the world are doing. The vault is going to break down changes and trends in the Madden community, why players are doing what they're doing, and most importantly, how to counter it. So make sure you guys go check it out. $9.95 a month unlocks everything on the website. That includes our weekly vault updates, all offensive and defensive game plans with our bombs, our blitz pickups, or our coverage setups and our blitz setups for the defensive game plans. And make sure you guys check out our Discord, where we have over 2,000 members helping each other day in and day out And we have lab sessions at no additional cost every single Wednesday evening. Best deal in the tip space by a mile. Go check it out. All right, defensive side of the ball. Now, my roster, again, with this Bears theme team, I have a Bears Cowboys theme team. So you're going to kind of look at some of the positions, in particular, my top side safety on the strong safety slot, and wonder why I don't have AP on him. That's because he's not actually the player that's on the field. Okay, so let's start off with my safety stack that I would recommend that you guys get. Again, we're going to go through the must-haves, and then we'll talk about flex stuff here in a moment. Now, for what it's worth, I do run the Dime 1-4, and you can find that game plan on Gridiron. But my safeties must have 2 abilities. The first one is going to be deep out KO, or if you can get it on an item, deep zone KO. For what it's worth, deep zone KO is deep out plus deep in, meaning that anything beyond 20 yards of the field is going to be knocked out if contacted by the defender. They're going to get improved reactions, which means as soon as the quarterback cocks their arm to throw, they're going to break on that throw for you. So I like to have my safeties with that particular ability, because when they're playing a deep zone, I want them to be able to force knockouts if they hit that receiver. The other thing that's really, really big is I play a lot of match. So my safeties sometimes convert into man-to-man from zone within a match defense. And believe it or not, zone KOs actually work in match. So you get this guy running stride for stride in man-to-man. Notice I play Cooper DeJean at my safety spot. Because of that high man-to-man skill, this allows me to play match, play man within the match, and get the zone knockouts. The other ability that I like is the one that I've already talked about, and that's the mid-zone KO. This ability is going to help with knockouts basically 0 to 20 yards from the line of scrimmage inside the numbers, and 10 to 20 yards outside the numbers. So this is really, really big when you're talking about players throwing quick seams. This is good for post routes in the middle of the field. This is really, really big for switch sticking and, you know, lurking and trying to get to a throw and close down a window. A lot of times the best passers in the world are squeezing those tight windows. You want that deep zone, mid zone combo, because basically anything from 10 to 20 yards inside the numbers is knockout central. So they have to throw more checkdowns or risk those drops. And then of course, the other ability that goes almost without saying is pick artist. You have to be able to catch picks. Without the pick artist ability, your guys swat down, they drop interceptions frequently. You want to make sure that you guys have this. And of course, if you have a luxury item and you could stack lurker on top of it, lurker plus pick artist is lurk artist. And that's the ability that a lot of linebackers get. And that's why the linebackers get crazy interception animations in this game. So if you could stack both of those, that's great. But a lot of DB items, that'll cost extra. So deep zone, mid zone, and pick artist for my safeties. Now let's talk about the outside corners. Now again, on my team, I do overpay a lot of players. You're going to actually be able to do everything I'm talking about on defense cheaper than I'm showing you in this video. Pay attention to the abilities I'm recommending, not the players I'm spending the AP on. My outside corners are Jalen Johnson and Byron Jones. I'll show you Byron Jones is a really good example. Now, he's a combine item, so if you guys have the token, you guys will be in a good spot with this. Hopefully EA puts out more cards or more tokens for you guys if you didn't get these. If you don't have the combine items, target an item in the game that gets the abilities I'm about to break down. And you guessed it, deep out KO in mid zone. It's the same as the safeties. Now think about it. When we're talking about match coverage, those outside DBs, they're dropping into outside quarters. If they're in zone, they need the deep out KO. If they convert into man within a matching defense, and maybe they're covering a post route over the middle of the field, now all of a sudden that knockout requires mid zone KO. So I really like that my outside corners can essentially knock out anything 0 to 20 yards downfield inside the numbers, but anything 10 to infinity outside the numbers. And that's where most of the game is going to be played for those corners. So they're matching over the middle where the mid zone KO bails them, and they're playing deep down the sideline over the top in zone or matching streaks where the deep out is going to help them. And then again, of course, if you can put a pick artist on them, great. If you can even stack the lurker on top of that, even better. Okay. So mid zone, deep out KO, and pick artist. Anything else is gravy. Don't spend on it unless you have flex AP and it's just something you want. And you will see over here on the other side, my other outside corner is Jalen Johnson. Now, unfortunately for me, this Jalen Johnson is not very AP safe. Now, I am a Bears fan, so I want to play with cards that are good. As you can see, he's got great ratings, but I do have to pay a premium for his AP setup. So I am paying the full 3 AP for his deep zone KO on the outside. I'm paying an AP point for his pick artist even. And then fortunately, I do get a free mid zone. So wow, great discount, even though I'm paying full price for this card. This just goes to show you that you can fit any item you want into this 12 AP structure. If you guys run a theme team and you're in the comments section saying, oh, this AP change nuked my theme team, I don't necessarily think I agree with that, because I've got a lot of items I'm spending a lot of AP on, and those are items where you don't necessarily have to do what I'm going to be recommending. So I've got a lot of extra luxury AP here. Realistically, for all your corners, if you play a dollar or if you play a 1-4 type of defense, you're paying for 2 safeties and 4 corners to have knockouts. You're talking about mid-zone pick artist, and then you have the outside corners with deep zone, mid-zone pick artist, and the safeties with the same stack. Realistically, you could probably equip all 6 players for maybe 3 AP or less, which is going to give you a lot of flex AP. You just kind of have to find the right items that are going to allow you this ability to do it. And of course, these items are going to get cheaper as we go. Now let's talk about slots specifically for what I do. Again, reminder, I run a unique style of coverage where I play a lot of cover 3 match. So my slot corners will oftentimes be matching super deep. My slot DBs in this roster are going to be Deion Sanders, where I am paying for universal coverage as a full-time ability. This is every single knockout in the game. This is flat zone, this is mid zone, this is deep in, this is deep out. If I play man-to-man, it's short, mid, and deep route KO in man, and also has 1 step ahead built in. This is a really, really, really good ability to have in your slot corner role, because if he's in a hook curl, he gets mid-zone KO. If he's in a flat zone, he gets flat zone KO. If he's in match and he has to run deep with a corner route, he's got deep out and deep in zone KOs for seams and corners and posts. It's every knockout ability that you could possibly need. And a lot of times in this game, people stress over the slot corner getting beat over the top. Having those abilities that can knock out when they're a step behind is going to be absolutely huge. And then from there, again, pick artist and lurker. Now, one thing to say about this is universal coverage is typically going to be an X factor. So you see right here, here's this X factor ability. It's good, but to be honest with you, if you can't find a universal to play your slot corner roles in a 3-2 defense, I would just go to having probably deep out KO, mid zone, and pick artist. What a shocker. It's the same stack I've been recommending for the safeties and the outside corners, okay? You'll notice here in this particular breakdown that I've got Deion in the slot, and then I actually have Jalen Ramsey's combine item as well that gets that same stack. Ignore the X factors for a moment here as we break this down. Universal coverage for 3, then he's got tackling, he's got catching the ball, and he's actually got lurker on top of that. So he's got that lurk artist built in. So you're seeing right here that I'm paying a premium at 3 corner slots. In fact, when you take a look at it, I'm paying 10 of my 12 AP to my corners to make this work, all right? And then, of course, we have one of my safeties that I'm paying a little bit more of a premium on as well. But again, you could probably get a deep out KO mid-zone pick artist safety for 1 AP pretty easily, and then have 1 AP left over. That's where all 12 of my AP is. Now let's talk about linebackers. Linebackers are a really interesting one, because really all you need with them is, to be honest with you, in my opinion, lurk artist in mid-zone. If you want to try to run tackling linebackers, I would just recommend keeping backup linebackers that have lurk artist and secure tackler. So that way when you face a runner, you can sub those guys in, still catch interceptions and tackle for free. I'm not as wrapped up in the idea of, oh, I need a mid-zone KO, and then, oh, I need a lurk artist, and then, oh, you know, I also need a secure tackler for free. Now, don't get me wrong. You can probably, on certain items within this game, find those abilities and utilize them effectively. I'm not going to pay 1 AP for a tackle supreme on this Lance Briggs, because I could very easily go find a backup linebacker that gets secure tackler for free. And if I face a heavy toter that's giving me issues, I can sub them in. But my linebackers, I'm rocking lurk artist in mid zone. So when you think about the entire defense, any player that's in coverage gets mid zone. Any player that's on the back end, where if you're playing a cover 4, those are gonna be your outside corners and your safeties, they get deep zone KO or deep out KO. And then our linebackers, they get the lurk artists so they can catch interceptions, and then they get the mid zone so they can cause knockouts in those hook zones that you so often play. And I know what many of you guys are saying out there. Okay, well, Zan, you have no AP on your defensive line. Yeah, that's correct. I have no AP on my defensive line, because when we go back to what I explained you have to do on offense from an offensive line perspective, every single lineman in the game that you should be rostering as a starter should get the pass protector ability and also the all day ability. Just as a refresher, if you have pass protector, this is going to counter edge threat, double or nothing, El Toro. It's going to counter swim club. It's going to counter literally Colossus single teams. It's going to counter the unstoppable force X factors that players like to run. So spending AP on pass rush abilities makes absolutely no sense when there's an ability that's being handed out for free on damn near every lineman in the game. And then on top of that, they've got this extra ability that lets them hold their block longer for free too. So I personally do not rock edge threats or double or nothings or unstoppable forces or Colossus anymore in this particular context. Now, if I did have extra AP to use, let's just say for S's and G's, that maybe instead of spending 4 on Jalen, 3 on Dion, and 3 on Ramsey, that I had, 2 to 5 extra AP to play with. If there is one ability I would rock, it would be the Colossus X Factor. You can run this as an off-on ability on Dontari Post Combine item, but there are other items in the game that get it as a passive for 4. Daniil Hunter Combine, Team of the Year Von Miller gets it, and there are others, and I'm sure by the time this video comes out, or some of you watch it into the summer, there's going to be even more on top of that. If you have extra flex AP, I think there is one ability in the game that makes a ton of sense for this, and that is going to be the Colossus. Some of you are saying maybe Enforcer. I would argue that with Tank kind of cracking the majority of the broken hit stick animations and causing broken tackles, maybe it could be up to you. Again, flex AP is going to be up to you. But again, the primary meta in this game, mid-zone KO at every coverage spot you could possibly have because of the switch stick. It's so important. And also make sure that you guys have pick artist or lurk artist, or if you can stack the pick artist and lurker on a DB item to build a lurk artist for free, do that. From there, whatever extra AP is up to you. I would prioritize Colossus and then maybe work towards tackling abilities like Secure Tackler if you have some available, but it's not a be all end all in that case. But that is how I'm rocking my AP. Let me know what you guys are doing below, what defense you run. If you choose to share your lineup below, please make sure that you say your base formation so people understand. In my context, I'm running dime, where I need basically 6 coverage items, 2 linebackers, and 3 pass rushers. If you guys are running 3-4 odd, obviously you got 4 linebackers on the field. So it could differ. So make sure you guys be as detailed as possible in your comments below. Share what you guys are doing. What are your plans for this AP update? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know regardless. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.